Welcome all to this edition of CandidInCrimson, bolder and better in our second year, where we have honest heart-to-heart conversations with women leaders who have been simply unstoppable. Today we have with us Vijayalaxmi. She's from the L&T Smart World and Communication Company. She's a project finance professional with 2 decades of experience, currently handling 7 functions, including COP center initiatives, risk management, and digitization. Welcome, Vijayalaxmi. It's our pride to have you with us today on Candid and Crimson.
Thank you very much, Sheena. It's a pleasure joining you on this discussion. Thank you.
Vijayalakshmi, you've been a simply unstoppable woman leader, and our audience would love to hear on barriers that women faced in your sector and tips that you have, which can actually help women to seeking to grow and become leaders in your sector.
Thank you, Sheena. In terms of the cultural challenges and the barriers women face, I think we've come a long way. And today, we don't face any stigma or stereotypes in terms of what a woman can do in terms of selecting her job role. But we do have to face day-to-day challenges. You would still have conventional type of people around us who would think that they would reluctantly allow a woman to take an independent charge of a large project. We also have overprotective colleagues of us who would think that the women team members would only do a supporting role uh, with the fear of letting them directly deal with the external stakeholders. And there are some expectation that all the background work and should be done by the women team members, and the summary should be given for somebody to present it to the client. The flip side of that overprotectiveness is that sometimes young female colleagues are being pushed in front when there is a complex project in which we are not much prepared, and there is a very tough customer who we think would go soft if there is a young female who would be representing us. So I know a lot of people would relate to this. So there is still resistance in certain places in investing in capacity building in young women, because they think that they will definitely take a career break after their marriage or they would leave the country. So these challenges still exist, but I think we would overcome as we evolve.
Absolutely. I do understand. And, I feel you so much when you say overprotective there. And yes, sometimes, we are pushed in the front when it's a tough client. And I think that's what makes us us. Thank you, Vijay. That was helpful. Tell me, I would really love to hear about moments in your journey, your career, which basically made you you. I mean, you have been so unstoppable. What is it that, are some of those defining moments that have made you you?
So I started my career in a development financial institution at a time when we had an economic meltdown, the early 2000s, where all the banks and the financial institution has frozen lending, and we were saddling with large NPAs across the country. And I was handed over the most chronic NPAs, non-performing assets, which were due for collection. So I learned my project finance in terms of what not should not be done, and having experienced in recovering those funds, I learned the ropes of actually lending money to a bankable infrastructure project. My job has taken me throughout the country to the remotest of the places in terms of reviewing the project implementation of the loans that I had given for industrial and infrastructure projects. And this extensive travel has actually taught me that we can do anything. And there are a lot of women in the financial sector who have done much better than their male counterparts. So it instills, traveling does instill a lot of confidence, and it gives you a sense of accomplishment that you can go ahead and do anything that comes your way. And that is what prepared me for taking on further challenges in areas that I had not had prior experience. That's what happens. You spend the first few years honing your skills, becoming a sectoral expert, and in future, as you grow up in the hierarchy, you'd end up handling responsibilities in which you absolutely have no prior experience. But the way that you approach the process in terms of consulting those people who are experts in the field and putting the process in place and having a good team to work on it, gets that project on an autopilot mode. So these were the defining moments. Seeing projects grow in front of my eyes has brought in a huge job satisfaction for me, pushing me to go to work every day. Um, that's what drives me, Sheena.
Absolutely. And while we say that travel opens up your mind, I think a lot of women, are generally not mobile, and sometimes, that sets back in their career there. But yes, traveling does open up your mind, and it requires a lot of support and a true grit power to actually travel various places across the country. And well, so what would be the best or the worst place that you traveled to that you would like to talk about?
So I would have gone to Jharkhand, where I got stranded during floods. I went to Calcutta. I had to reach Tata Nagar, and on my way to Jharkhand, it was a journey by train where I could actually, the trains had stopped because of the floods. I could literally see the floods rising on either side of the train. There are places where they claim to be Naxal infested, remotest of the project sites. There are ultra mega power project plants where we would go to tribal areas, ensure that the project itself provides for their rehabilitation. There are places where there is resistance, where we would go in terms of recovering funds. There will be orchestrated resistance where we will have to go then seek help from the local police station. So all sorts of challenges, a lot of late night travels, overnight travels that we'll have to do at these remote sites. I think our organization takes care of these factors and ensure the women employees are safe. And with all the support that we get from the ecosystem, we sail through. And the sense of adventure that comes along with these jobs, what's make our journey very interesting.
I truly, it's so unbelievable that you went through all that, and it's really amazing and inspiring, Vijayalaxmi. And when you said that, I just happened to remember, the MD of SBI Bank. She's written a story. I mean, she's now at Salesforce there, and she's written the story about how she began her career, and she also speaks about how travel and Naxalites and different places actually shaped her. I'm sure those have been really career defining for you, and it's such a driving force for you. You mentioned about how that you get that personal satisfaction, but what is that fuel that makes you that simply unstoppable, and what drives you? What is that inner thing that gives you that motivation to go out there every day, challenge systems, and that satisfaction finally at the end of the day? How what is it in you?
So our professional journey is it doesn't come easy. It's a very hard work that we do in terms of putting aside all our whims and fancies and going ahead and achieving our goals. Uh, for me, despite having working for the last 3 decades, I'm here to earn my next meal. That's the sense of responsibility that I would assume. And there is a huge team that is dependent on you in terms of mentoring them. And there is a necessity that you need to set an example uh, to stay as an inspiration for the rest of the young women who are facing a lot of challenges, and you know that you have walked past through the same journey and you had emerged successfully, and you are there for them to show the way that uh, the job, the full-time job, the marriage, the kids or old parents to take care of is just another day in a woman's life of getting her work done. And it just takes an amount of organization and planning to help us through all these hurdles. And I advise young women, as far as it is possible that you do not take a career break unless it is completely unavoidable, because if there are challenges you will find a way to overcome it. You need to take additional support wherever it is possible, and don't be too oversensitive or too finicky in terms of getting to do everything on your own. And that's too hard, being a perfectionist on ourselves.
That's so true, Vijay Lakshmi, and yes, you touched a chord in my heart when you actually spoke about that. Tell me, if you have to name your single or maybe, those one or two big support systems that you had in your life, who or what would they be?
So, definitely my parents, who allowed me to do whatever I had wanted, who had been my supporting pillars in terms of taking care of my kid since we were together, we lived together. Um, I never had to worry about my daughter coming after the school, um, especially when I'm traveling. And I had been a mother who had not been helicopter parenting, allowed the kid to do her studies on herself. I've not taken leave for her board exams because whatever the kid is preparing on herself, the achievement is more valuable than somebody sitting and tutoring them. So I would tell my colleagues not to get guilty about not being there for the regular work that the kids have to do, and it's our way of preparing them for the real world, rather than spoon feeding them and feeling guilty that we are not there at home for all of their needs. The domestic support system and your partner who is absolutely devoid of all the egos, allowing you to grow. Um, they definitely have a role in terms of the personal sanity that you need to display wherever you go. So yes, your family matters, and the job itself is a distraction if you have any personal problems. So any big problem, it's just one day. It takes a day for us to move on and get on with the rest of the challenges that we need to face ahead.
I feel you so much because I think I've probably been through the same experience and I resound exactly in what you're saying. And I remember Sushmita saying in one of her pieces, that she didn't want to say that she did sacrifices for a kid because it actually gives a kid a whole lot of, baggage when you say that your parents did sacrifice for you. But it's up to them to grow and be there. And yes, a support system actually helps us retain our sanity. In a world that's sometimes can be chaotic.
In fact, this morning my husband did mention that, oh, should I expect that you would mention me? I said, forget it.
Yeah, I feel you, and I think again I'm reading, and I remember Indra Nui saying exactly the same thing. When she told her husband that your husband said, "Look, I'm last on your list," and she said that, "Look, I mean, you should be even glad that you're on the list at times." But yes, that's what strong women are, and simply unstoppable women are. And I think lastly, Vijay Lakshmi, organizations need to support women. I think that's a need that's felt in the market, and I think a lot of women organizations have stepped up to it. What is your view on what is the role that organizations can do so that we can have an equitable workplace for women?
Opportunities to grow is something that every organization can give to their women employees. In terms of team formation, every team should be diversified, and the job allocation should not be based on the gender roles. It should rather be based on the skill set each of the team member has, and equal opportunity and investment into their professional growth is what needs to be given. Given an opportunity, and they would grow on their own. And we need to identify young talent and nurture them to become future leaders. And presence of women, gender diversity at the mid management level actually throws in a lot of transparency and credibility, and you can be rest assured that the integrity is intact in that organization where there is a gender diversity.
I agree with you. I think gender diverse organizations have been known to grow and perform much better than other organizations. It's a proven fact. And I would want to say it's so lovely having you with us, Vijay Lakshmi. On behalf of Candid on Crimson, I wish you a very happy International Women's Day. And I would want to end it by saying that may our tribe prosper. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheena. Thank you very much.